educational about how you first have to coax it out of the sheath in order to make love to the mirror. Oh, hey,
hello
there.
Hey.
Okay. Hey, how you doing? Welcome to the Princess Robot Podcast, where we remember it so you don't have to. Wait, that's not it.
I think you made that joke last time too.
No, that wasn't it. That was the joke. It was a Whose Lines Did Anything thing last time. You pay fucking attention. All right.
Good job. And then, okay, sorry. I get it all mixed up.
Yeah, because I'm so generic. Like, stop fighting on the podcast.
You also have one tone in your voice when you're making a joke. Oh. you have like normal skirts and then making a joke skirts, and so I get confused.
I suppose you would notice that.
I'm
third person here.
To tones and music and stuff. I wanted to share some piano with you all today, but unfortunately I'm not able to do that, and so maybe we'll figure it out for next time.
Unfortunately, we just had to have a guest star on the show.
Yeah, dang it. We just have props.
Yeah.
I am second best to Ponky music, and I accept this. It's okay.
Ponky, what did you do this week? Fuck all. Same with me. Okay, on to the guest star. So
Nice.
We got here the one and only, the immoral, the undiable Darth Buckethead Vagina Face the Wise, otherwise known as Propmaster.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here with my
your icon just looks like a Vagineer, you know. Imagine that, like, screaming, hurtling at you on a bike at like 20,000 kashyyyks a second. What the fuck the measurement is in Star Wars? Just fuck Star Wars. But no. Propsmaster, if you don't follow him on FemFic, he's going through what I would like to call the Propaissance, which over the last couple of months has been producing a lot of fantastic works. Holy shit, do you assault that feature baller like a certain president, eh?
Yeah,
beforehand,
right.
You were known
I grab it by certain parts that are less unsaid, but
know that.
Yeah, by the plot. That's right.
Your magnum opus probably being Rare Snuggles, but you've ventured into a lot of tea and coffee as of late, with rarity being the ultimate theme. You've also done a lot of nice commissions for Jake the Army Guy and for myself, just name a few. You're nice enough to create Operation West Horse, which is a real labor of love between you and the rest of the Lemur Cave, marsupial alumni, to say the least. And, of course, Carry Me Home, which may have possibly made me realize that I had stuff once in my chest vacuole that is missing now. So good on that. And of course, on the side, or maybe in the foreground, you also do a lot of modding and admitting for Lemur Cave, which is basically Noble Jury 2.0. So yes, Propaissance, man, full on.
Well, I'm happy to be here. First guest. Thanks, guys.
Well, I'm happy to talk over you.
Yeah.
So what are we doing here? What's going on?
Skirts has compiled a number of pretty simple questions so that we are better able to facilitate an avenue for your beautiful voice, and also so that the people listening can get to know you a little bit better. So Skirts, why don't you ask one of those?
Yeah, sure. The first question is ironically not a question, as my wife has informed me. It's tell us all about yourself, Mr. Propmaster.
Well,
and if I can elaborate a little bit more on that, I think what I really want to know about this question is just like if you were trying to tell somebody about yourself and you only had a very limited amount of time to do it, what are the most important things you would want to get across about yourself?
Ooh, let's see here.
You had to grab the attention of someone who's fucking around with this piano in the background.
Right. Yeah. Like if I was interviewing or something like that. Yeah. No. Sure. Why not? I'm Props. I'm a writer on FemFiction, of course. I'm also an educator. I teach and do all kinds of other stuff. I am also a part-time salad tosser. You can attest to that, Skirts. But anyway. And yeah, I mean, I enjoy some ponies and some gaming and stuff like that. And I, as Skirts mentioned, do moderation for the Lemur Cave. Hi guys. Yeah, it's a good time. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, and where do you think that you excel in your writing specifically?
There you go.
Oh, geez, that's a good question. I think my forte, by and large, is like comedy and romance. That's most of what I write. I guess my most recent story, "Carry Me Home," was a very how to put it, like a deviation from that, but everybody really enjoyed it to various levels. When I say enjoy, I mean they left me a lot of really sad, angry messages.
There was a visceral response.
yeah, there really was. Even from Skirts, which I didn't expect. So I made him feel a feel.
Hey.
I think there was a
Kite
feel that was felt. That's right. Oh
yeah,
man.
you do have a tendency to do that. You pretty easily and just effortlessly can send across that genuineness. I think that's really what it is. Between the comedy and the emotional stuff and the romantic stuff, what really comes across is just how much you feel it. And I think that that's why your stories are special, is that it's so clear that it's coming from a real place and it's not, manufactured. You don't just want to say, oh, I want people to feel a certain way. How do I calculate that out? You feel something and you're able to share that with words. And I think that's something that really shines in your writing.
Well, sincere people are going to write sincere things. So, by road, eh?
And attention-seeking whores are going to write attention-seeking slutty stuff. So like Austria, for example.
We talked about this
what a slut that imploding colon is. Jeez.
Yeah, whoever that. Oh, geez, that guy.
That guy.
Ugh,
the quiet guy, man. Ugh.
It's funny enough. Speaking of comedy and romance, which you mentioned, there's a story that you wrote specifically for me.
Oh yes.
That combines those very, very aptly.
My friend shipping story.
Yeah, it was so cute. And for those of you that haven't read it, there was a story called "Over Pinking It" by Propmaster.
2012.
And, back before I left for the Punk Odyssey, and I think. Well, I want you to tell your side of that story. Why did you write it, and kind of where did it come from? Because I've always wanted to ask you.
Man, over pinking it. It's so I feel like the whole. I mean, like you said, it was kind of like a from a genuine place there. I really wanted to connect with you in some way before you left here and write something for you. And so at the time, your favorite pony was Pinkie Pie and stuff like that. And we had kind of like a joke going on of how I shipped your OC with Pinkie and stuff. And so I wrote this story kind of just out of a silly idea of, I'm going to write something fun and cute for Ponky for him before he leaves. And so it was kind of born out of the impending what did we call it? The final arrivederci or whatever. And so it was kind of out of that this story kind of came into being and just kind of me trying to express my I guess my appreciation for you.
That's so sweet of you, and it worked wonders. I've gone back and read it many times. In fact, just the other week, I read it through again. It's very fun. It takes my OC, for those of you who don't know, just Ponky is his name, and he's just a white-coated Pegasus in a Wonderbolts hoodie, sort of.
Oh God.
Born of the persona that I had first created when I joined Bronyism and did
this hoodie for anonymity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and then screw anonymity. I don't want people to not know who I am when I've produced such awesome stuff. But what happened was that character came to life under your fingers. Like, you were able to really make a lot more of it than well, I guess what you did was you just took an image and just sort of like, I don't know, infused it with my soul or my online essence, and I was floored. It was it was really amazing to read, especially for the first time, because it really felt, I could tell how much thought you put into it. I could tell how true to the source you were trying to be, and it meant a lot to me. So thank you for that, and also good job.
Thanks, man.
A great bonus about that fic is that while it was a labor of love to Ponky, it was also kind of like a love song to the Spanish Announce Table Goes First group in general, because there was like a there's a Vimbert pony, I believe, and a Warden pony, and a Brian J pony, and a
it was so fun.
Pony.
You were Purple Prose.
Oh,
that was your name.
Yeah,
the only pony
Purple Prose,
accepted, you know, because I met Pony Sonas, but that was a good one. That was a cute one, and he made him like kind of a dull-headed douchebag. And speaking of douchebags, one thing I take away from the inception of Overpinking It is that Props had actually told me about it before he got started writing it. He took me in a side in Steam chat or something. He's like, hey, Skirt, so I had this idea of a story that I'm going to ship like Ponky's Ponysona and Pinkie Pie, and I'm going to call it Overthinking Pink. And I'm like, why don't you call it Overpinking It? And there's a bit of ellipses. Okay, so the fic title is Overpinking It. It thus began the trend of Jason, sorry, of Props sharing ideas with me, and me going, no, do it this way instead, and being a total douchebag. But hey,
well, yeah, if we kind of grab the remote and turn back time, Overpinking It is very far from the first sort of labor of love that you've created that is of high quality and also inspired by your friends. And here with Skirts, there's a great example of something that you wrote. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Red Wings.
Oh yes, of course. Back at the very beginning.
Yeah, I'm talking. Press that rewind button like 6 or 7 times until it just starts flying backwards faster than you can see the images go by.
When you reach the middle
absolutely,
stage, all the dead fanfics belong. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, this is the decomposing elephant next to the other larger decomposing elephant. Yeah, Red Wings. Red Wings was the official End of Ponies side story. When I came up with the idea, this was right when Fallout Equestria and End of Ponies kind of had their little rivalry going on, and I saw all these.
It didn't even compare. Come on.
Well, yeah. I mean, Fallout Equestria is insignificant in comparison, but cat and like, don't get me wrong, I actually really like Fallout Equestria, but End of Ponies is my jam. That being said, though, yeah, and so like I saw all of these side stories that were being written by people about Fallout Equestria, and I was like, I want to do a side story for End of Ponies, and I want to kind of connect it in. And I was kind of friends with Skirts at the time. We had met over on PonyChan actually way back in the day here, and I had been helping him do some editing on End of Ponies actually at the time. And this was right at the end of the Pinkie Pie arc and going into
Background Pony.
Background Pony. Well, this was Kaizo Petra. Even is where I was helping edit. Huh. That's as far back as we go here.
I forgot you read Kaizo arc back in the day. I thought it was just Gordon Vimbert and Horse Rider.
Yeah, no, it was. I was in on that too there, and I did a little bit of editing work. But I mean, you know, when you're up against somebody like Vimbert and Warden, you know, I mean, the amount of editing I actually had to do was very small because they were already tearing it apart.
You're always a good cop in those situations, you know.
Right? Yeah, for sure. Definitely. You know, I didn't know how to critique my my senpai. You know, I looked up to you too much, so it was too hard to be like, hey, this fucking sucks.
Not do a Pinkie Pie arc. You ever thought about that? Just go back in time and crawl into your mother's womb.
Well, that's how Warden felt about Petra, but that's another story. So I asked about writing this side story with a diamond dog as the main character, and that's kind of where that whole thing started. And we were actually gonna like tie Red Wings into End of Ponies, and there was all these ideas that we had about how to do that. And well, when End of Ponies went on hiatus, so did Red Wings. It's actually still marked incomplete, and maybe someday that'll change. So
maybe, and I do hope so, just because. Oh boy, skirts.
oh boy,
Pay attention.
Okay.
No, sorry for those of you listening after the fact. Skirts just types up in the comments. That's why I said that. I don't want it to be confusing. But it was plenty funny and everything's wonderful. Anyway, I love Red Wings. I don't think it's any secret to those who are fans of both Ponky and Skirts, but I don't like End of Ponies. I don't think it's very good. I don't enjoy reading it, and it's not something I'm a fan of. But Red Wings was fantastic.
Shit.
I don't mean to insult Skirts, and I know he won't take it as such because he's got such a lack of a heart. But Red Wings pulled me into that world of the wasteland more than End of Ponies did, just because End of Ponies is good, and I don't mean to say that it's trash or anything, but it's very drawn out. It's very, 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 very detailed. And to me, that's being a millennial and the person that I am, that's hard for me to dive into. It's hard for me to pay attention for that long. So what you were able to do, Props, was put something in that same world, and so just the way that you did it, and I don't want to give any spoilers because it's a great story and I encourage people to go read it. But the way that you did the beginning and the way that your main character moves from where he is into the larger wasteland really captured that feeling for me of being there myself. And it was fantastic. It was the first thing of yours that I read, and I still remember that feeling of like being somewhere while reading something. That was really, really special for me.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you liked it. I mean, I had fun writing Red Wings. It's funny because like looking back on it now and like comparing it to more recent stuff, I'm like, ooh, there's room for improvement there certainly. And
the great thing is you did improve. It was good, and you're right. We always look back at the things we wrote 5-6 years ago and say, oh, we could have improved. But it's fun to look at what we're doing now and say, oh, but we did improve. Because you can see just in your, like Skirts is saying, in these Propaganda fics, in these stories that you're producing very regularly and at a great quality, you can see that how far you've come. And I think that's so fun. To me, that's one of the most fun parts of being a writer on film fiction, is that everything is so present. You can very easily go back and look at the things that you did in the past and see what has changed and what has grown. And that's a blast. And yeah, you can definitely see it. It's awesome from every writer, and I wonder if you can tell. When you go back and see it, can you say proudly, "Oh yeah, I've gotten better"?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, absolutely. I mean, just from Red Wings was written prior, right prior to actually going into my actual collegiate experience. I was at a community college at the time when I started writing this. And so, I mean, I've taken classes and I've written more, and like Red Wings is really like my first really serious attempt at a long form story. And it shows for sure. But I mean, like at the time, I mean, I remember being very proud of it. I mean, writing, 10,000 words at a time on a chapter, that's a lot of words to put down here. Absolutely. I mean, and I mean, like nowadays I'm maybe like 5,000 words or something like that. I guess a few are a little longer than that, but I mean, for the most part,
the heart. You're telling me how you're basically misty-eyed while you're writing some of the final scenes of Carry Me Home.
Well, yeah, Carry Me Home is a whole different animal, though. I mean, I wrote a blog about it, but Carry Me Home was born out of a kind of need for to express this emotion that I was feeling at the time, and so because long story short, my to kind of, sorry to bring it down a little bit here, but my grandpa is not really doing well, and he's been around and present for my whole life and stuff, and kind of seeing him, at the end of his life here is really it was giving me a lot of different emotions and feelings and stuff like that, and, making me really reflective on other experiences that I had had with older friends or family members. And so Carry Me Home is really almost autobiographical in some senses.
It's inspired.
You know, yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean, the things that I have happened to Spike in this are things that have happened to me in real life, basically, and like are reflective of, you know, maybe some idealized versions of actual conversations that I've had with people and actual experiences that I've had and stuff. To the most part, anyway. So I mean, so that's Carry Me Home, and I mean, it's like I said, it's a whole different animal. It's beyond the realm of fantasy for me, because I mean, most of what I write I consider, you know, fantasy or fiction in some way, and Carry Me Home is more like almost autobiographical, I guess.
I could definitely see a lot of that in like the Applejack, Rarity, and Pinkie Pie chapters. And I also remember you telling me in Discord, because we totally talk all the time like bros. I just want to say that Punky is such a warm-hearted, witty, on-the-nose, really charismatic individual. And so being, he fucked up my list of generalized sterile questions. So I'm going to cherry pick one of them. Actually, I'm going to cherry pick maybe one of them, and then we'll go on to the user questions. Props, how do you remember stumbling upon and meeting Punky?
Oh, geez. I mean, that's a story you guys have almost told already.
That's what I was going to say, is that in the last episode when Skirts and I talked about how we met, that was directly how I met you, was through the Spanish Roundtable Goes First.
Yeah, that was a half question.
That was
okay. Now for the full
that
question.
was it. Okay.
What other shit do you find enjoyable in doing in this crazy thing called life? What are you? What do you do?
what are my things? Let's see here. I mean, besides like writing and ponies and online friends and stuff like that. Let's see here. I am very active in Dungeons and Dragons. I love playing. I have a regular. I got a regular Saturday group that I meet with, and we're currently playing Curse of Strahd. Actually, my character just died. Very, very intense and dramatic. I got into an epic knockdown, drag out fight with a bunch of vampire spawn and got taken down. It was great. It was awesome and cinematic. Yeah, my crusty old Van Helsing guy got killed. So yeah, so I'm contemplating a new character actually. But anyway, Dungeons and Dragons. Let's see here. I am a very, very happy fiance to a very, very nice lady who I'm looking at right now. She's drawing right now, so she's not paying any attention. But she's amazing and wonderful, and that's a lot of the impetus for all the other things that I do in my life is that person there. So let's see here. Other things.
Visit Patreon /propsfiance.com.
Yeah, Patreon someday. And then of course I do props. I am called Prop Master for a reason. I'm sure there's a question down there somewhere, but I make costume props and stage props and stuff like that, and that's where that's why I'm props. So that's my other stuff.
God fucking damn it! Is that the reason? Okay.
Well, yeah,
I never figured it out until just now. All right, that's cool.
Wait, really?
Yeah, invested in the stage life. That's really cool. And if I may add another thing that you do, or I guess ask about another thing that you do, tell us about your profile pictures and your cosplay.
Yeah, man, that's all part of the props, bud. I'm part of the 501st Legion and the Mandalorian Mercs. They are volunteer organizations that do all kinds of cool stuff. We actually work directly with Lucasfilm and now with Disney, doing just all kinds of neat stuff. Most of it is volunteer. Well, not most of it. 100% of it is volunteer work, and it's all about just, you know, enhancing experiences for other fans of Star Wars and stuff like that. And so we'll go and we'll be present at Like we had people that went to the premiere down in Los Angeles for the new Star Wars movies. We've been invited to sit in for personal screenings of the new Rebels show. All kinds of cool stuff that we get to do, but then we also go and we kind of give back to the community with charity work. We do children's hospital visits, which are always just incredible. And I mean, that's pretty much it. And so I have armor that I have made myself, and props and all kinds of cool stuff, and get to work with other people that are into that kind of a thing.
And it is cool stuff. You've shown me some pictures of your creations, and they really are top notch. You also sent me a picture one time of, I know that you weren't directly involved, but of the Legion in Milan. That was several years ago, but
yes,
it has it's not just a local thing. It's spreading, and there are opportunities to go everywhere, right?
Oh yeah, no. The Legion has local chapters in almost every country in the world here.
So cool.
I mean, it's pretty incredible, and it's almost doubled in size since the new films actually started here. Let's see here. I can actually tell you there are currently, according to the website, because last time I checked, there were 10,000 members worldwide that were all rocking costumes and stuff like that.
You know, Props, you once shared a Scout Trooper photo with me, and I wanted to murder you, and I still do.
The princess photo. Yeah, no, I'll have to maybe throw that into a blog or something like that, because it is great. Oh boy, it is great and hilarious.
I love how in the background we hear Ponky fiddling around with his piano, and I'm fidgeting around with my fidget cube. So Ponky is working on his creativity. I'm working on my autism. That's Princess Robot in a nutshell.
Ooh, I should grab out my fidget cube too. Here we go.
Oh God, no! It's fine. Take that, Fuzzhead. Oh no!
Uh-oh. He's overwhelming us with his powers.
Wielding the Hylian coin purse.
Is that an ocarina he's playing? Yes, awesome. Oh man, so that's the 501st stuff that I do, and it's super cool. I really love it. So
yeah, I think that's awesome. I think that's a great thing to be a part of, and I didn't know anything at all about any kind of nerd culture or any of the amazing things that happen online with people coming together over things that they love and doing really amazing things. And it's great to have a friend as close as you that is involved in something so awesome. Every time I see pictures of it or even just think about it, it's like, wow, what a cool organization that has come together. So
hey,
Ponky,
thanks for
telling us about that.
Hey Ponky, what's Italian for big brother?
Like older brother?
Yes.
Or like large brother?
Both.
Yes.
That would be fratello maggiore would be like big brother, like older brother, or fratello grande or fratellone would be like large brother.
So good. Okay.
Hello, that's right. No, I had my the entire time that you were gone, I actually kept my my username on Steam as Fratello Props.
Yeah, and you would always you would send me regular emails and always called me Fratello, and I love that.
That either means you're really sweet or Steam really sucks these days. Anyways,
right?
We're at the halfway point, so I think we might as well go to the user questions.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I did this. I think I grabbed the ones off of Props. Blog first, and I included the ones that were thrown on mine. So first we have Force. Force is asking you, Props, what are your favorite skirts and punk fix?
First, I'll just say hi, Force. Force is like my other favorite person. She's great.
It's your girl.
It's your girl. It's your girl, Force. So what are my favorite skirts and punk fix? Oh, geez.
Question.
Let's see here. Well, I'll start with punky because that is...
Because I only have 12, so that's pretty...
You only have 12. No, I love. I mean, I love Sisters Do.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, that was my real first introduction to you as a writer, and I just remember kind of like when we first met in the essay in the Spanish Announce Table Goes First chat. I was like, who is this guy? You know, and I was just like, huh, what a strange individual. You know, very very passionate about skirts, and so I jumped into. So I jumped onto your user page and I was looking around at what you had written and stuff, and I saw Sisters Do, which I had seen like in the feature box and stuff, and I was like, oh, hey, and so I clicked through and started reading, and I was just immediately like, this is super cool. And so it's not just Sisters Do, also it's the combination of Sisters Do and Through the Looking Glass, the two stories. I just love how you intertwined them both, and how you're doing that with the Daughter Do as well. I think that's just super cool. So I've been really enjoying that.
Which,
that
by the way,
universe.
has milestone, has it not?
Yeah, I'm very, very nearly done. Like I have finished writing it, so I just need to go through and edit and post the last couple of chapters, and it'll be finished.
Okay, I'm excited. I'm very excited for that.
Me too.
Yes. So favorite skirts fix. A little more difficult. The first thing that always comes to mind with skirts is of course Background Pony. I was really heavily involved with editing it, and
Yeah.
I was also the guy that was keeping the thing on track by being the outside person that knew the whole story ahead of time.
Yeah, I bounced
So
it.
I knew. Yeah, so I knew going in everything that was going to happen, and then I had to try to keep things on track, whereas everybody else was kind of blind reacting to it, I guess. And so it was such a. I mean, I have so much love for that story. Like, it's like my baby too. And so I mean, of course, so Background Pony, first of all, and then I mean, Australia. How can I not mention Australia in the same breath here?
Yeah, you cute little mechanic, you.
Oh,
Yes.
I love that stupid, long, amazing story so much. Yeah, so Australia would be my second there. I have a namesake character in it, which is super cool. I know you mentioned
Punky's
that on
favorite,
the.
isn't she, Punky?
Not my all-time favorite, but she's great. Very, very important.
Propsy is great.
I like her uncle. I like her uncle a lot.
Yeah,
Uncle Browse.
because the whole Darth Vader
Scottish
connection.
accent.
There's the whole point of it.
Oh man.
Yeah. Force also asked about like why you're known as a property master, but he answered that for everyone and myself. She asks, "Is there a man behind the helmet?" So, what veneer is behind the vagina bucket, and why is it Sexy Mario?
Behind the helmet is just another smaller helmet. That's really the truth.
I like to think that underneath the Mandalorian helmet is a Scouter helmet. And then you take that one off, and it's like a normal, like kind of just Imperial Trooper helmet, and you just keep taking them off, and it's just different helmets in the Star Wars universe.
Hey, props!
Helmets all the way down.
Helmets all the way down.
Yes.
For a fun time,
skirts.
watch a rerun of The Honeymooners. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So moving on, her lady C Squared, who's a pretty princess with a vagina, she asks, who would win in a fight, Civ 5 Settler or Civ 5 Barbarian Brute?
Well, we all know how that goes.
Yeah.
And the answer is the Barbarian Brute. I'm sorry, C Squared, but you lost, and you just need to deal with it.
And if you
30 turns of chasing a Barbarian Brute around with a scout, it was just that's a story for another day, perhaps.
I'm glad you have a definitive answer.
Yeah.
We got famous last words. Apparently
famous.
This is I think this is asking me. What's the best thing Props has written in your opinion, Skirts? Also for both of you, if there was a real Jurassic Park out there and you're going to have to be eaten by a dinosaur due to the laws of science fiction, what dinosaur would it be and how would it go down? For the first one, I'm a little selfish, and I have to say there's a lot of shit that I've tossed his way that he's salad tossed into actual literal meaning, and I'm really big on the Sound of Diamonds that he did. That he actually executed and made personal and just rarity up the wazoo. It's the best rarity author on the fucking site. There you have it. Carrying Me Home has been pretty impressive, but I have to really admire the writing that he does and the dialogue that he gives to Jake and Celestia and the other characters and Man Cannot Live on Coffee Alone. That's been really snazzy all around. But it's just I'm very proud of how he was able to execute Sound of Diamonds. It always kind of sticks with me as being a cool thing. And I'll always be tickled pink by the last chapter of Operation Westward. There, it's out. I said it's good.
There's the comment. There's the reaction, everybody. Now you know.
Wrote like 8,000 words or something of like this neckbeard like communicating with Rainbow Dash and like the courtyard of Epcot, like future world as the sun's going down and like the fireworks are about to go off and stuff. That was nice and cozy and risky, but acute and fun risky. And I appreciate that. And also not making me too much of a moron in that, even though I was nameless.
Oh, I had a good time. Yeah.
Also, as for the Jurassic Park thing, I wanted to say being eaten by Dilophosaurus, but then I remembered the book version, and that was horrible. Probably the compies, because they kind of slowly put you to sleep, and you sort of just drift off into a coma.
Yeah, slow blood loss, RIP. I would say Velociraptor, just because A, awesome, and B, if I was gonna have to go in any manner by dinosaur, I would at least want it to look awesome. You know, coming out of the bush, I'd say clever girl, and then she'd get me. It'd be great.
Go the whole 9 yards, huh?
Exactly. I mean, if I'm gonna go, might as well make the reference and really cement it.
24th Pegasus asks to both Props and Skirts, what sort of D&D shenanigans have you been up to as of late? Because in case you don't know, 24th Pegasus does a lot of D&D themselves, and a lot of it's inspired by the shit that's gone down in Newtown and Ophirodi. Very much like sort of like an adaptation of he rich fucking diatribes of like these condensed kind of D&D versions of like the Austreo, who's replaced by a character named Gwen, and their trip east, being accompanied by a party of heroes, Elgin Byro and the like, is really flattering to say the least, but that's not the topic right now. The topic is Props and Skirts D&D shenanigans. Not a lot as of late, but when we did have them, they were tickling pink, to say the least.
Yeah, our D&D shenanigans were too brief, but amazing nonetheless. I ran a 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons games with Skirts and very briefly Ponky and a few other of our good friends, and it was a really fun time, and I would love to do it some more when I have more time to run. As for me, D&D shenanigans, like I said, I'm in a group that runs Dungeons and Dragons every Saturday, and we've been doing that for over 3 years now. And so I'm actually playing right now, and like I said, just lost my good character, Vic, who was a monster hunter fighter in the Curse of Strahd. Got eaten by some vampires, which is, I mean, as far as ways to go in Curse of Strahd, is probably the most badass way. So yeah, a good dramatic exit for that character, and so
I think you found the name for your next character right within the title of this podcast. Darth, Furby, the Vagina Bucket. I think that's your next guy.
I will
like 3 degrees of references.
It's so many, too many.
I agree, too many.
Going back to the questions, not enough coffee. The Princess Stalker Extraordinaire asks a few. They ask whatever. Hey, Props, if space is a vacuum, who changes the bags?
If space is a vacuum, who changes the bags?
Because we know that space is a waste, after all.
Right, exactly. Right. I'd say if anybody changes the bags around here, it's probably me. I do it. I get out in my armor, and it's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. That's right.
Somebody's got to change the space vacuum bags.
The space vacuum bags.
There's something very funny about that line.
I had to.
I
had to empty them out. Yeah, I had to empty them out so skirts could feel again. See, that's what it was. The vacuole in his heart is what's sucking everything, and that's what it is.
Hey, Ponky. Would you like to hear me sing the chorus from Space is a Waste?
I really would.
There's a podcast you might want to listen to that's
oh, the Barcast. Oh my God, the Barcast.
Do you really sing it? Did you really sing it?
He does. He sings it, and it's amazing. You have to go and find
Oh my
that.
gosh. Yeah, I might leave this podcast right now and go find it.
It's amazing.
Not that I'm plugging the once a week Barcast by the group of the original HIE podcast, now the Barcast, which you can find on femfiction.net. Anyways,
that was a great little addition to that. That was
Not Enough Coffee has another question. Props, if the number 2 pencil is the most popular, why is it still number 2? Why is it still shit?
Why the number 2 pencil is not number 2 for that reason alone, my friend.
You know this considering your profession.
Right. No, it's number 2 because the Scantron Corporation just loves taking giant shits on people, and that's really it. It's the number 2 for that reason.
There's not a more technical reason for that?
You have to use a number 2 pencil on their Scantrons, and so that's why, because they're taking a giant dump on you. That's right.
That is great.
On your wallet.
I'm sure Devos will fix that. Anyways, next question.
90, please.
If I save time, when do I get back? When I save time, when do I get it back? Not enough coffee. Fucking whatever.
If you save time, get it back at the end.
You get it back
at the end. Yeah, that's a great
end.
Yeah, at the end.
Okay, there we go. Dr. Eggnog doesn't quite have a question. It's more of a statement, honey. Dr. Eggnog says, one big happy family put out the light and the Sound of Diamonds look interesting. I should check them out. I have surprises favorited. That was cute.
Well, to Dr. Eggnog, I guess I would say of all of those.
Put out the light. Read that one. That's the best.
Oh, jeez. No. The Sound of Diamonds is probably the best of those groups there. One Big Happy Family was really fun, though. That was a little. Yeah, that was a little 30-day writing project that I did. I do them every once in a while, and they're just little exercises to get me going again. And One Big Happy Family is a cute Discord and Fluttershy ship fic, and it's just me having fun with those characters, and I really did have fun with it. Writing a little bit more assertive Fluttershy, always awesome. So, and then put out the light. Less said about that, the better. It's done. So it's a one shot.
You had your candlestick head moment, didn't you, bro?
Oh, I did. Oh, it was amazing. He put on the red eyes for me and everything. It was great.
Okay. Next is Jake the Army Guy. Holler. Jake. I think 2 of the questions we've answered already, so we'll tackle the ones that haven't been. Prop Master, Jake says, how many props have you actually mastered?
Yes. All of them.
Okay.
Excellent.
Do you see that one over there? Yeah, that one. Mm-hmm. Yes, and that one too. Yes.
Well, by the time you're a father, we'll know for sure.
Right.
And then Jake the Army Guy asks, why are you a butt?
Why am I? It takes one to know one.
Next chapter of Rare Coffee. We're going to see an untimely death.
There you go. That'll be it. That story's getting cut short. I'll have a new guy named Steak come in and replace him. It'll be a good time.
Steak. Every time that you write steak, there has to be a question mark at the end. It's like part of
That's part of his name. Yeah.
In parentheses, a
Steak.
parenthetical question mark, or an interrobang, that would work, because I used to be your icon.
An interrobang.
KMC with yet another statement, honey. You know what else Props wrote that I enjoyed that's never been finished or canceled? Red Wings, come at me, VOD.
Yeah, and you mentioned that at least there's the wisp of an idea that you might finish it someday. Is that just sort of like just wide open, or do you
like
have specific ideas?
Fanfic failure kind of cancerously leached from it or something.
Yeah, that'll be something that I'll maybe have to have a discussion with Skirts in the future here. I've had a couple thoughts about Red Wings and either rebooting it or scrapping it and maybe taking pieces of it that I like and putting it into a new fic, or
That's actually a good idea.
Other ideas. Yeah, so I've had a couple thoughts about it. So yeah, that's it.
Cool.
Ponky, I'm being taken to the principal's office. You can tell that this is a joke because I'm speaking in one tone. So last but not least, we got a slew of questions from Twy-1993. That was a year you were born, eh, Ponky?
Yeah, I was born.
Okay.
I was born.
Some of us aren't.
Twy-Dash is my consistent customer, and he is a nice kid. I like him.
Oh, then we know who to blame. So
yeah, exactly.
First question is, what is your favorite part of a pup's place? I wonder why that's relevant.
Oh goodness, Twy-Dash is actually the person that commissioned A Pup's Place, and he is a huge Spike fan. If that isn't obvious, my favorite part about A Pup's Place was writing the. So the whole idea behind A Pup's Place is Spike is spoilers. Spike is concerned about his place in the world and his place as part of Twilight's family. Mind you, this is set in Equestria Girl, so this is Spike the dog who has recently gained full-on intelligence and sentience through magic, and so his position in Twilight's family is a little weird. And so the story is really about like exploring that idea, because it's not like it. I think it's an important distinction that Spike in Equestria Girls, Spike the dog, is not the same character at all. So it's very interesting, I think. And so for A Pup's Place, part of his exploration into who he is and where he came from is he goes and he visits the farm where he was born and where Twilight's family adopted him from, and he gets to meet his mom. And so one thing that I felt was really important was not just making it so Spike's mom had comparable intelligence to Spike. She is still a dog, but I wanted to give her a voice and have her talk. And so my favorite part of that was kind of creating like this simplistic but also like motherly and smart and wise character that Spike could relate to and have these little doggy kind of conversations with. And so that was my favorite part. There you go.
Oh, that's really cute.
Yeah, it's a super cute fic. Yeah,
I haven't read that. Can I ask a question about it? About
Sure.
just sort of your process in general. When you commission fics, and let's use this one as a specific example. How much did Twy-Dash tell you, and how much did you just sort of like? What was the prompt? Was there a lot of information that you needed to get in, a lot of direction, or was it just sort of like, hey, what if this happened? Write a story about that.
It's been pretty varied, the amount of information that people have given me, but so far my experience has been that people give me very small prompts and maybe some like requests for like, oh, I want to see this happen in it. And
Like scenes, like specific.
right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And so they'll say, here's my idea for the story that I want you to write, and here's like the general idea. kind of fill in the blanks, but I really want to see this moment happen. And so that was pretty much how it went with Pups Place and with actually most of my commissions. They've
Very
been
cool.
they've been very open, and I really like that because that gives me a lot of room to play around with the idea, but also like when they can get a little bit specific, that gives me places where I know I need to deliver on, and so that's fun, and it kind of adds a little bit of a challenge. So yeah, that's
awesome.
that's my process, I guess, for the commissions.
Well, you already touched on this a bit, but Twidash asks, what do you consider Twilight and Spike to be? I consider them mother and son. I'm getting some Full Metal Alchemist flashbacks here.
I'm going to quote one of my dearest and most favorite people that I've never actually met or really had much of a conversation with on film fiction. Oh yeah, no, thank you. No. No, it's actually the Descendant. He used to be super active. I mean, there used to be the Crow, exactly. No, and he was just a really interesting, outgoing, vivacious personality on film fiction, and he always talked about Twilight and Spike, and the way that he put it was like the best way, I think, and so I'm going to steal it right now. I think that Twilight is Spike's big one, and a Spike is Twilight's little one, and that could be mother and son, that could be brother and sister, it could be adoptee and the adopted, but I think that really encompasses it. They're important to each other, and it's not just a simple relationship that they have.
Yeah, it could be biracial pedophilic lovers. It really could be anything.
I mean, we could go wherever we want.
Well, you did say Lewis Carroll. Somewhat on topic.
Every single time I think I've said something clever, Skirts one-ups me. I just can't. I can't keep up.
Well,
he's too clever.
That English
a bit on topic. Once upon a time. Oh, shut up. Once upon a time, I made one of my alts. I'm not going to say which alt it was, but as soon as I made, the day I made the alt, I sent a message to Descendants user page and I said, "Hello there, I am welcome to Fin Fiction. If I need any help figuring out how the site works, you won't be afraid to ask. You're always happy to help, and you're all glad that I'm here."
Oh, that's amazing. Did you send that one from Minds in Liberated France, perhaps?
Screen here. So let's move on to the next question. Hey, Twidash. Thank you, Twidash. Twidash asks, are you into baseball or any other sports? I'm a huge Phillies fan.
Ooh, baseball or any other sports? I have kind of... I really have a love-hate relationship with American football, and I will call it American football because football is a different thing entirely. So there you go. There you go, Europeans. You're welcome. So I have always been a fan of my team. So spoilers, I'm in California, and my team is the 49ers, and so they have always been my team, even when they suck. And and so that's pretty much it. They're the only team that I really follow at all, and my wonderful and lovely fiance is a Raiders fan, so that is truly the only thing that divides us. So it is indeed a love-hate relationship with that sport. So there you go.
Yeah, you see, the only sports team that Ponky knows about is the Lamanites, and the reason why the uniforms are dark is because of a curse. Anyways,
wow, what a reference.
Twidash asks, what is your favorite thing about Spike?
My tongue is deeply buried into the side of my mouth right now. I'm
just biting down.
What is your favorite thing about Spike?
Favorite thing about Spike? I like. I guess it depends because I feel like Spike is a lot of things. I really enjoy when Spike is kind of a stand-in for the viewer in the show. I'll get specific there. I think that it's cool that he is a character that I feel like a lot of bronies relate to, because he's often, at least early on in the show, he was the kind of the straight man to Twilight's nerdy goofiness. and I really liked that about him. And he's kind of grown away from that. I guess I'll put that as kindly as I possibly can. You know, but at the same time, like I've never had like hate for Spike or anything like that. I think he's a cool and interesting character with kind of like cool and interesting things about him, and I'm glad that they really explored that in the show. You know, I mean, bringing in the whole going and visiting the Dragon Lands and Ember and all that stuff. I mean, I think that's super cool, and I'm glad that he gets a little bit of play as a dragon and not as the butt of the jokes. So that's it.
I'm listening.
That's reserved for friendship as witchcraft and stuff like that.
Totally not sharing emoticons in Discord with Ponky.
No, I kept wanting to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go on. You sound like you're more awesome and relevant.
Oh, thanks, Skirts. How kind. I kept wanting to interrupt you, Props, and to ask. I know that there are a lot of Spike haters. I don't know how else to say it. That sounds like a stupid thing to say, but just like there are a lot of people. I feel that there are a lot of people who would disagree with you and say that Spike is kind of just a throwaway character. Do you concede that sometimes that's true, or do you? Well, I guess my real question is: do you think that his depth comes more from the fandom than the show, or do you think that there is enough evidence in the show to say that the writers have really taken to deepening his character over time?
Well, I think Spike suffers from the same problems that Pinkie Pie does in the show. Pinkie Pie is either a insightful, empathetic character that has a deep understanding of other characters and what's going on with them, even if she doesn't express it in the right way, or she's a goofy cartoon character. And I mean, she's always a goofy cartoon character, but sometimes it's really apparent. And I think Spike suffers from that problem as well. He's since he's kind of like the little brother to Twilight, and I feel like that's how the writers see him, is that he's the little brother to Twilight. I think that kind of comes across in like they play up that he's sometimes the annoying little brother or the goofy little brother or whatever, and so they kind of shoehorn him into these roles and these ideas. But then sometimes they also pull him out of that, and he gets to do other cool things. But all that being said, though, I mean, I love the show, and I mean, there are bad episodes here and there, but I mean, for the most part, I just have a deep and abiding respect for the writers and the cast and everybody that's involved with that show. But on the fandom side, I mean, 100% the fandom has done more service to Spike than writers ever have of the actual show. And I mean, like, just I mean, to throw out the quintessential Spike fic, It Takes a Village. You know, I mean, that story. I mean, that story pulled me into.
I haven't read it. Woo!
Oh, it's so good. But that story pulled me into film fiction and pony fiction in general. And that's where I started looking on PonyChan for other writers and stuff like that. And that's where I found Skirts. So it's all It Takes.
Thanks to Spike. So hear that, Jake? It's all thanks to Spike. That is
it's all thanks to Spike. Aww. Guys, we're here right now because of Spike. Isn't that magical?
He doesn't always fuck up, guys.
Yeah, he's not a throwaway character. He matters. I knew it.
We're also all here because of Team Fortress 2 and divorce.
Ouch! Wow. How pointed. Team Fortress 2, divorce, and Spike. Those are the only 3 ingredients necessary for this kind of friendship.
To make a little girl. I'm gonna be an extra douchebag and draw the conversation real tight into my rectum for 1 second. Y'all read the one-shot challenge that I wrote like a couple days ago? The second person story.
Yes, I actually
Yes.
really liked that.
That was I won't get into it, but that was inspired by the fact that I knew it was going to be on the Barcast, and I knew that the Barcast A hated Spike and B hated Rarity, but they love second-person stories. So I thought, what if I could just flip the Anon thing on its head and then trick you all into reading a Spike Rarity fic, and that's pretty much what that was all about.
It was
You did it very yeah.
that twist at when the reveal spoilers the reveal that it's a Spike Rarity fic. Oh, so good.
It really was, because I mean, I'm pretty distanced at this point from the fandom. Not that I want to be, just that real life has happened over the last 6 years, and things change. So like I had actually forgotten that Spike liked Rarity. Like I had forgotten that was like one of his principal character traits at the beginning of the show, and so for that to have been the twist, I was like so surprised. It was. That's funny that you say that it was just intended as kind of like a joke, and that it just came from this like intention to screw with a very specific group of people. But I really liked it. I thought it was a very funny, not funny as in ha ha ha, but like a very surprising way to accomplish what it did. And the style felt very old skirts, and I liked that a lot. It was fun to be in that place again.
Hey, a news flash, Punky. Those who are actually still quote unquote in the fandom are not exactly quite in the fandom. It's more of a tangential thing and a side off excuse for occasional horse fuckery. But hey, we're having fun. So don't feel like you have to be watching the show 24/7 to be quote unquote in the know.
I do wish that I was caught up on the show.
There's some good ass shit in this season. Holy mother!
This season, oh boy, wow. So good.
Yeah, I watched. Let's see. I don't even know how far up I watched. I know that I got to the episode with Rainbow Dash's parents, which to me was disappointing, just because I had this very specific idea of who Rainbow Dash's parents were, and so like. But it was a fine episode. It was very funny. I really liked the Scootaloo development in it.
There's an Applejack's family episode.
There's an Applejack's family episode. Honky. Oh my God, you need to see
just spoil it for me. Are they dead?
No, you don't. You have to.
You're gonna turn this off after this, and we're gonna watch it together, and then we're all gonna cry. Okay, we're all gonna cry real tears.
Anyway, one last question. Twidash has one last question, and it's the most important question of all, as Twidash says, and it is in fact the most important question of all. Twidash asks, Props, what is your favorite brand of paper towels? Mine is Bounty.
That's all the time we have this week, folks. Tune in again.
I'm shocked. I'm appalled. My asshole has been blown out on stream, as Skirts would say.
Hang on. It's time for questions with Twidash.
Yes. Now we got to tell the Barcast to watch this, and then we'll get them in on it, and we'll do crossover. No,
they're gonna fucking hate me.
And, but no, I think answer is Angel Soft. Yeah. So carry on.
Angel Soft.
You would know from all the spaghetti you spill.
Right.
So Ponky made a good point. We have hit the hour, but oh my God, this went way better than I thought it would, because Ponky's awesome and I suck. So thank you, Ponky, for being an actual charismatic human being and carrying on conversation. One of the best friends I ever had.
I love you guys. I really do.
Skirts, you carry us. You carry me home to bring this all around.
Yeah, one testicle in each hand. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Woo!